in the style of Dawn Wall. So for Dawn Wall, there's a couple of key things, and I think we really need to start with the structure of the tracks themselves, because almost every track is going to start with some kind of drum break, and it's designed to be mixed into like a DJ set, and it'll be a stripped back version of everything else. And this track here, we're using basically the structure of Rain God. So what we've got here is like a stripped back Lyn Collins type break with some ambient sounds that help us build into what's going to be the main part of the track. So if we just take the first 16 bars here of the 32 bar intro section, we've got this. Right, so it's ambient, it's groovy, it is designed basically to be mixed into something else and become part of a bigger set. So it's more about that groove and just having a bit of ambient tonality. That very simple bass line, just that bum, 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 fills out throughout the track and actually becomes part of the motif. Now what actually builds this out is, well, on the Dawn Wall tracks, we pretty much always end up having a Lyn Collins break, and it tends to be really pitched up. So that is what I've gone and done here. So we take the toppers for the Lyn Collins and it's pitched right up, so we've got that proper accented vocal, and I've just done a little speed ramp right at the start here, so we just get this. Now I've cut out parts of the thing separately and layered those in, so we end up doing this. We've got the snare in its own, and then we've got a separate kick here, just taken from a loop here in Logic. And that's what builds up the intro break. Now, as we progress, I do this hi-hat crash type thing just here. And that's just to pick up the ear. It's not exactly where you'd expect it. It's not landing on the 8. It comes in on a random bar, just picks up the ear a little bit, lets us know something is about to change, and then we do bring in some more hats just here. Just shuffling in between that think groove. And that's it for those intro drums, really. That's all we've really done there. Now to make all the atmospheric sounds, very, very simple as well here. So we've taken this sample here. And this is break free in C. It's just a sample from Logic, but there's a lot of processing going on it. It's pitch corrected, we've got space designer, there's a bunch of EQ, compressions going on as well. If we strip all of that off, we've got a very different sound. But that would still work, but we need to tune it into the track. So we've done that. Space designer. That's what's giving us that swelly kind of pad sound. And then the EQ and compressors are just there to pull it out of the background and whatnot when needed, especially later in the track where the drums really need to take focus. We've got this plucked ambient string, which is just that really simple line. And this is just made in Sculpt right here. Very, very simple. Compression, very subtle EQ, just giving us some top and taking out some of the like muddy area. And the other thing that does fade out in this section here, but we do have at the start, is this elegant piano. And this is basically a bunch of flammed chords all coming together just to give some texture and tonality in the background. Now in the Dawn Wall track Rain God, they actually sampled this track here, and it gives them loads of like vocal accents and things to play around with. We can't do that, we're working only with Logic samples, so I have utilised some other bits like this, just to build in that kind of like vocal vibe that's in there. So then everything coming together like this. And then to break that down for the part of the intro leading up into the main bit of the track, we basically just strip all of the break away. I repeat the same keys. We've got the same plucked element happening. The vocal continues. We've got all these effects and atmospheric sounds in the background. And if you really listen deep on Dawn Wall tracks, this kind of stuff's always here. We've got ambient noise, walking down the street, rain, random clicks and pops from bits of equipment or whatever recorded around the house. So I've used this warped engineering sound here. It's in Q sampler. I've just looped this section around here. So that gives us this vibe right here. And it just loops over and over. If we grab the EQ, there's like no low end. We've taken out this horrible tone that was right here, just above 500. We've then got this vinyl noise sample on top. Just adding a bunch of crack and fuzz. Right at the start, we've got this. Just a purposefully really horrible noise, just for that transition moment that happens. Got a boomer effect that also happens for that transition moment. And then there was this answering machine sample that I've cut little parts out of just to add a little bit more texture to. And then as we get to the end of it, we've used some uppers and downers and just reversed them all into these 3 sweeps that work like this. And that helps us drop into the overall track. Today's video is sponsored by DistroKid. They let me get my music out to all of the major distributors, and they do that at a price an independent artist can easily afford. If you're ready to get your music or beats out there and want to release an unlimited amount of music each year, check the link in the description below for a discount off of your first year of unlimited distribution with DistroKid. So when we put all of those different elements together, that is then how we've done our build up into the drop. There is one final thing. We've got the Lynn Collins break. We put another little vocal sample in here to kind of emulate that Rain God sound. So we've stripped everything back and we end up getting this right before everything drops in. Dance away, dance away. And all together that gives us this vibe into the track. Dance away. So let's break down the fundamentals of everything else that's in the section. So we break down how the break works before, but you'll notice we've now also got this extra shaker layer. The smooth hat's running a lot faster. We use this at the end of each 8 bar, which is exactly how Rain God strips its break back as well. And we've got a separate break in here that I made called the Rain God break, which was basically trying to emulate the Rain God break. And we layer everything together. We've got a pretty good Dawn Wall vibing break right there. And obviously this custom Rain God break, that will be included in the template if you download it. We've then just got the vocal layer sitting right below that again, which adds all that tonality and that pad vibe. And we've added some keys and vibes, a very simple melody, copying just the 3-tone melody, again, that's in the likes of Rain God. Really simple, subtle noise just up in the top there. Utilising the sweep in the 8 bar each time. Here we are. I've introduced this Let's Bounce vocal sample, again, just from Logic, just to add that constant and we had to leave ourselves loads of room for this big bass line here. Just made in alchemy, real simple bass made in alchemy here. Very subtle bit of EQ, taking out 400 Hertz, giving a nice little bit of boost at 6K. Fat Effects is putting in quite a bit of work on it here. If we take it away, barely there. Fat Effects really distorting it up for us with the very drive here. Limiter is actually crushing it with 9 dB and pulling it back 6 dB. So it goes straight into a limiter but controlled. And there's a compressor that ducks it back with the sampled kit. And that's it. We drop everything there, right there. It's all about the breaks. We've got that tonality we had at the start, and it's all about making space for that bass line. The only other thing is the dance away lyric at each 8-bar section. So the next part up to make up the 16, it just repeats the whole thing again, but we've got an extra little sample improv section just here, which is this. As you can see, there's a lot going on with that. Pitch correction, pitch shifting as well, shifted ensemble as well. If we take all of those things away, kind of doesn't work with the track at all. We've really crushed it in to work in the track and fit the vibe. Alright, so for the second 16, things do switch up. We keep most everything else going, but in the Dawn Wall style, we just keep building up, and then strip it back. So here, we've basically found a bunch of synth and orchestral samples that all sit quite nicely together, and we just build up and layer those throughout this second 16. That's it. When those drop away again, we take those away. We bring the motif back in of the pluck guitar that we had right at the start. You just hear that bomb, bomb, bomb sitting in there. So they're the fundamental things that really help us put together a Dawn Wall track. So if you want to download this template and work on it and build it into your own track, that will be available in a link below for you.